All right, friends, I got the itch and it needs to be scratched. And I'm going to explain right after this. Welcome back. If you haven't seen my videos before, I'm Rusty Oliver Man. And it's been almost a month and I haven't brought another tractor home. So we got to do something about that because, yeah, I mean, what good is it to have 40 or so of them if you can't have 41? So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to have to hook up the truck to the trailer. And spoiler alert, this isn't a tractor. I've tried to buy some and I cannot get anybody to message back or whatever here lately. So we're gonna go get one that I already own, but it's not over here that I want to work on. And it's over at Dad's. So like I said, we will hook up the trailer and then go over there and hopefully we can dig it out. It's been in the back of the shed for years and I want to drag it over here and order the stuff I need and slap it back together, I hope. Although I'm sure condition has gone downhill since it has been so long, because it was actually his tractor. And then when I brought that WD, I told him that was part of my trade deal, was I wanted that. It's a Cockshutt 550 is what it is. And we're gonna go get it. So here we go. All right, first order of business, I suppose, is gonna be making a path. So we're gonna have to use his pickup to move my other trailer, which they've been using for something. I think they hauled straw with it yesterday. I'm gonna get started and now it's gonna rain. That would be okay if it brings a cooling temperature, but I doubt that it will. We might have to abort this mission. Oh, this is gonna be a tall order, friends, because life happens. And there's my cedar. I need to take that back with me too. But we're gonna have to get all that out of the way, and his zero-turn mower, we're gonna not want to let that sit out in the rain. I got an idea for that though. His front porch would make a great lawnmower shed. I'm gonna move it up there. Choke. There's also nobody here, so that way there's no resistance to whatever nonsense I come up with, see? Oh, calm down, doggy. All right, there's the thing in all its glory. It's kind of sad. It's been sitting there all this time. And also, I think our biggest hurdle is gonna be, well, I wonder where the rest of the pieces are. I'm thinking they're down, and I bet they got in the mud. See, I didn't take this apart. Dear old Dad took it apart. Let's get back here to it. He took it apart. Ooh. It's in worse shape than I remember. That is unfortunate. But it's not a deal breaker. I think I can still make her go. What happened was, it was running along happily, and then it cracked a sleeve. And so he took it apart and he had the head redone, and we didn't see that crack until after a while before we put it back together. So I pulled that sleeve, came up out of there, and then that was all she wrote. We couldn't find parts. So the bad thing is I didn't take this apart, so I don't know the whole, I just don't know. I don't know where the stuff went. I don't even see the head. The head was always sitting here wrapped up in a plastic bag. So I got my work ahead of me, see, digging this out. But it's time to do it because it's not getting any better sitting here like this. All right, I've excavated a path. We'll see if it'll even come out of there. Come on, baby doll. We might have to rehook. I need a more square pull on it, really. See, this is all different since that was put in there. That little building wasn't there. I don't think the lean-to was on there. All right, made it back home. It's thundering, it's fixing to rain. This poor thing, it's definitely seen its better days there. I didn't realize it had gotten so bad because it was covered with plastic and then had a tarp over it, and obviously the tarp has disintegrated and apparently the plastic did as well. And then the birds came in and they didn't help. They made a total mess of everything. So we're gonna have our work cut out for us. You know, Dad came out there and he was able to help me get it up on the trailer. We aired up the tires. And so it looks like crap, but they didn't make very many of these, and it's worth fixing, in my opinion. And my plan is going to be, I'm going to just polish on the crank in place, 4 new sleeves and pistons, some new rod bearings, and then have all the fun we can stand. That's going to be what the plan is. And I thought it was going to be simple, but then I found that those stupid birds or something knocked one of the pistons down into the dirt. So now I got to clean up that rod and see if that's going to be usable or savable. And if it's not, then I'm going to have to find a different rod. Here's the one that came out of the bad hole. It's a 403 9. Is it a 918 or is it a 403 91B? I don't know, but if you have any of those rods laying around, I would take some, because that ain't good. See, here's what shut him down. I know he took this apart on his own, and he's not a mechanic, he will tell you that. And I think it was about the time I left for college, so I wasn't there to help. And one time when I came home, he was about ready to have the head put back on. He took the head and had it rebuilt. But then I found that the sleeve was cracked. So I told him there's no use to do anything there. And then it was impossible to find parts. And now you can find sleeve and piston things for this, but it's a Geo 198 Hercules is what it's supposed to be. Geo 198. And Cockshutt 35, that golden arrow, and then this 550, and then I want to say the 570 even uses the same sleeves and pistons, but I think a 570 is a 6-cylinder version of this. So it's just sat too long. I mean, it's going to take a lot of soaking, but we've got the magical Zep, so I'm not worried about it. Plus, when you do new sleeves and pistons, then basically you have a new setup. So I think I'm just going to power wash it in place on the trailer. And then what I'm thinking is that way, if I knock something important off of it, maybe it will land on the deck of the trailer. You know what I'm saying? At this point, water can't hurt it because it's all in pieces. I mean, but this is an unusual enough tractor that it's definitely worth saving. And the people it came from, I've always really liked them, so I want to get that going. I mean, I know the original owners and heard all about that when they got it new, and so I want to get this going again. I've always liked this tractor for whatever reason. It's odd, because especially the color, that's so bizarre to just be all tan. But this is a 1958 model year, and that is what they were. I don't know, it was missing the 3-point hitch stuff, and I don't remember what we got that off of, but that's not right. I have some more correct arms that are more correct Cockshutt style, but I need to find more of that stuff. The story we got, see, Dad bought this from my cousins who have that John Deere combine, and they combine for me. They had bought it from the original owner and then fixed it up, painted it, and whatever, got it running. Because I believe it was in a building, and the building caught fire and burnt. And so, you know, what do? It sat there. They drug it outside, I think, during the fire, so it didn't burn up. I might have that story wrong. But anyway, they bought the tractor, and then they even went back after that fire trying to find the missing pieces, but they never could find it. But anyway, I drove it home as a kid. It about killed me because the clutch would hook on that clutch stop. It was just till here, and somehow I got it on the other side, and then when it let loose, it popped off. And so then they drove it back up to the house, and they added that little piece on there so that it wouldn't be able to do that. But we used it for years, and Dad, I don't know, it was just a utility tractor around there that he used, and then when it messed up, it was hard to find parts for, and he doesn't like mechanic work, so, and I wasn't around, I guess, so it got to be in this state. And then I was afraid that maybe he would junk it, and I didn't want that. So when I got that WD, I said part of the trade of this WD is that I get this tractor. And so here it is. It's taken me a while to put my hands on it, because I thought, hey, it's in the shed, it's safe, right? But I should have been more on it, because that's not good. I don't even know, the head is wrapped up in this plastic bag, and I don't even know if I want to look, because it's probably very sad. It's a rebuilt head, but I bet you it's in bad shape because it's been in that plastic. Well, maybe not. Hey, not as bad as I thought it might be, as long as the bottom is good. Well, we will tackle that in in another rendition, but I think I can clean it up. Oh, that was a mouse at one time. Everybody likes it when I touch mice with my bare hands. Anywho's, we'll set this aside and we'll get this cleaned up. All right, we've saved worse tractors, so don't freak out, people. I know you're gonna say this is impossible, not worth it, but I would argue on both of those because, like I said, they didn't make very many of these, so it's definitely worth putting some effort in. And there's nothing that's been made that can't be fixed again. So it's gonna happen. It may just be a not easy task, but that's fine. We're gonna make this happen. I didn't take it apart, so there's gonna be a lot of head scratching probably and looking at the parts book and whatever. I was just a little feller when he bought this, so I don't remember working on it much. I don't think I ever worked on it, actually. It just ran. So anyway, power washer time. We're gonna shine her up and see what we got. All right, that's clean as it's gonna be. Some people are probably freaking out that it's getting wet. Oh, it'll be fine. We'll do our final cleaning up and then we'll keep it dry. We'll put it in the shed somewhere so we can work on it. But I'm hoping I can knock this project out in not that long of time if I just put different sleeves. And the biggest thing's gonna be the rods. When I take those to the machine shop, how long it'll take him to get them what I want. But basically, I'm gonna do just the basic thing. The sleeves, pistons, rod bearings, and then slap gaskets on and go. And it should be fine. It's not gonna get a ton of hours. It's not gonna be whatever, you know. I just want it to run. We can always go back and do it better later sometime if we decide it's not good enough. But anything is better than the shape it's in, and it was going downhill bad in that shed. So, had to do something. There we can see remnants of the original paint poking through, the tan color. When they painted it, the paint didn't come out quite right, and it came out more yellow. People were calling it Big Bird all the time when they saw it. But I'd like to paint it back the way it's supposed to be. Fun fact, name spears. Those look familiar? That's where Oliver got them. Before White bought Cockshutt, Oliver did not have the name spears. They were doing stickers like on the 1800A, and then when they bought Cockshutt, they stole the idea of the name spear and started putting those on, and they put them on until the very last tractor. So that's where that came from. I've always liked these body style tractors. There were a few around because this is what our co-op sold before they sold Oliver. Our co-op was not the original Oliver dealer. It was a hardware store, and then Oliver and them got into it. I think the story I heard in like the early 60s, the end of the 50s, like about the 3-digit era. And Oliver pulled their contract, and the guy I talked to said his grandpa, who was the dealer, was super ticked off at Oliver for doing that. So they took it from them and then gave it to the co-op, and then co-op started selling Oliver, so they picked up. And then the co-op was a super duper like dealer. They sold a lot of stuff to a lot of people. They had pretty aggressive sales people that made sure you bought an Oliver tractor, so there ended up one on almost every farm. But this is what co-op sold. Like when my grandpa worked there, he worked there for a while, and this would have been what they sold new. So anyway, like I said, it wasn't doing any good the way it was, so we need to definitely make this go and get it back on its path to recovery. And some people are gonna say, well, this thing looks like garbage. Well, a lot of stuff I drug in here look like garbage. I don't think I hardly ever bought a running tractor, with the exception of the 1800A. I drove it home, and I'd have to think about another one. Is there another one that drove in here on its own power? Not very many of them. A lot of them came like this. So this will be future content for us. That's good. I'd like to do at least one Will It Run a month, you know, or one new project dragging in, and people are going to say, why you drag more instead of finish your old projects? Well, if I have multiple things going, then when I'm waiting on parts, hopefully there's always something ready to be worked on again. The next thing we really need to do, and I've said that a half a dozen times, is that 550 diesel for that customer. I got the steering box back together, so we need to slap it back together one day and see if we got the leak fixed, and then try to wrap that up for him so it's out of here. And then that'll be another space where we could work on like the Heritage 1355. I want to do that project, but I need the space to have it tore apart for a while. Dad's 200 needs a clutch, so I'm hoping to do that in the next few weeks. I gave him homework to get the loader off, and then I'm going to try to drive it over here one more time, and then hopefully split it, and that shouldn't take too long. That's common parts, you know, but if we have to have the flywheel machine, that could take a little while. But at any rate, I like this tractor. I always have, and I want to see it go again. And I want to, you know, make it better than it was the first time. It was never totally complete. And these parts are hard to find. I've looked for years and you just never hardly see one parted out, you know. So it's all kind of a word of mouth thing. Get a hold of this guy and he knows this guy, and then he knows where there's one sitting down in a ravine somewhere. So at any rate, we're going to call this a video here. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Do you suffer from low intelligence and are easily entertained? Well, then hit that thumbs up button and leave a comment. And that way we can keep making entertainment that your feeble minds can understand. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.